I'm pumped and excited today. I've got a fun video for us. We're going to take a look at hive boxes. Now here I have a deep hive box and what we call a medium honey super box. And we're going to talk about this today and how one of these may really save your hive box for a long time. Hey everybody, David Burns, good to be with you. It's kind of fun in the wintertime because you get to look at the anatomy of bee boxes, and that's always cool. So let's start with the first one right here. I want to show you this. It's really interesting. This box has been around the block a long time. Number one, I got it from a commercial beekeeper years ago. So the commercial beekeeper used it forever, and then I got it and I used it forever until last season I pulled it out of use because it has a couple of problems with it. I'll show you what they are. But I'm going to use this box as an example and compare it to a newer box so you can see. Now, for those of you that are just getting started in beekeeping, maybe you're starting out in the spring or you've only been keeping bees a few years, you may not realize how bad boxes can become. Now, a lot of people talk about just the outside. They talk about, should I paint it? Should I wax coat it? Dip it in wax? You know, what should I do? And that's usually about the only thing people really have a lot of conversations about. But really, I like to talk about what goes on the inside. Now, we think the inside should never go bad. There should never be anything wrong with it. But really, truthfully, from my experience, everything that I wrestle with happens on the inside of the hive box, not so much the outside. Let me give you an example. As you can see, this hive box, now in the US, most of us call this a deep hive body box, 9 5/8 long like this from here to there. Yeah, and then 16 1/4 this way, typical box. And we use this for brood box. Some people use just a single brood box for their entire nest, their colony, and I like to use 2 of these for my colony. And then I add the honey supers above for me. So whether you're using 1 or 2, it doesn't really matter. It's still the same. But if you look closely at what's going on, I want to show you about this area is called the frame rest area. So as you can see, this hive has been around the block a long time. And what has happened, it has collected a lot of propolis in this frame rest area. Just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to use a medium-sized super in a deep box just to show you where it sits. So this part here actually rests on the little notch in the box, and that's how it's made. That's how we've always done it. And this area here where it will rest, bees will propolize it. They'll add a lot of propolis there. You can see that after years and years of use, look how propolized this is. It's actually quite annoying. Now, when you try to clean this out, it's about 65 degrees, 60, 65 here in my shop. So when I try to clean this out, I wind up scraping it, trying to get it out of the groove where the frame will rest. Because if you don't clean it out regularly, so if you're new and you're not going to clean it out, you'll eventually get like this. You'll have a box where maybe your frames won't even fit in there anymore. It'd be just too much propolis. They won't go down in there. You have to pound it down in there. So it's a good idea to keep them clean. And don't go anywhere. I want to show you about this little thing here. So a J-hook, you can use a J-hook to scrape it like this. But I don't know, for scraping, I like the old traditional hive tool for scraping. It does such an easy job. I'm going to show you how I scrape this box, this frame rest area. This is something, by the way, that you might want to do in the month of December for just some hive maintenance. Maybe you've pulled some boxes off or some supers off. You've had them a few years, or even if you haven't had them for a few years, I'll demonstrate here. This is a 1-year box, only 1 season, and I'll show you how to keep it going and clean too. So let me just show you here. Now this would work better on a really warm day, but if you can take the tip of your hive tool like this and actually just start dragging it across, scraping it. Now the reason you can damage this is because not only am I scraping off the propolis, but as you can see here, I'm getting down to the wood. And I'm going to start damaging the wood because I really can't tell the difference where I'm at, whether I'm scraping wood or propolis. And you might not think it matters, but it does. You'll start rounding off this edge corner and making it smaller and smaller. But let's go ahead and get this cleaned up, do the best we can. This is mainly just the propolis. Now you can't just do this catch ledge, you have to do the top ledge here as well by scraping it. By the way, stay with me all the way through the end of this video. At the end of this video, I've got some coffee time conversation coming up, so stay with me. All right, so let's keep trying to get this ready. And I want to show you what we're going to do to prevent this from happening in the future. Yeah, see, I'm getting into the wood now. I just can't scrape it all off. Again, it's going to be better if you can do it when it's a little warmer. The box is a little warmer. That makes the propolis much more, I guess, looser to come off, much more gummier. But we'll get it off this way. In fact, this way may not be bad because it does kind of break off when it's colder like this. Okay, so I'm doing a good job. It's not looking too bad. Got a few little places. Yep, I see mostly wood. Here's a chunk right here. Do you see that little chunk? So let's do a little more scraping here. Get down to the wood is what we're attempting to do. Get all the propolis out of there. Hit this kind again. How are we doing now? How's that looking? Boy, there's some wax moth damage there. Some holes. We're pretty much on the wood now. Still some right here. All right, so what I want to show you though, while you're cleaning this off and you get your ledge, go ahead and clean this top part of the box off as well. Just drag like this and it gets the propolis off. I got a piece of cardboard here to kind of catch a lot of this, but some of it's winding up on my floor. So, yeah. This is going to help your boxes sit tighter to each other. You know, if you get propolis build up, it's going to make the next box not sit right. You may get a bunch of propolis right here, but not any over here, and that's going to make everything not kind of seal together, and it hurts you in the wintertime especially. All right, so what I want to show you now is this piece here. Now, we used to make hives for a living. We would just take a big, long piece of board, you know, and we would cut it up and make a hive out of it. And we made our living that way for years, back before it was cool. We sold hives. And one of the things that we did with our hives is we put these in every hive box that we made. So this hive box would get two. So we made a hive box. We would actually put these in. If you're not familiar with what these are, take a look at it right here. This is actually called a metal frame rest. And it's an L-shaped piece of metal. These are still sold, by the way. I noticed that Dadant sells these. If you just buy a small amount, I think they're 50 cents a piece. But we were buying them by the thousands, and they get down to in the 30 cents a piece range. So the way these work, it works to protect this area here from, number one, getting propolized where you can't hardly move your frames, because if you have this in there, it's much easier to slide your frames. Number two, it keeps you from seeing the box die and be taken out of commission after years, because this piece here is just either too gummed up with propolis or has been scraped too many times, and now the wood isn't even big enough to hold the frame anymore. Now you might be thinking, this might be, you know, 1 or 2 year beekeeper, you might be thinking, oh my gosh, you know, I'll never be keeping bees that long to actually see my box on the inside wear away. But that's what I thought. And here I am 30 years later, and after working boxes a lot, seeing things go bad. Let me show you how this goes in. And again, you can buy these and they're really worth it, but let me just say one caveat. So when you use these, if you install them correctly, small hive beetle should not be a problem. No. In other words, small hive beetles, they like to go in crevices, in between frames, tight spaces. So if you install this correctly, there will be no room for a small hive beetle to go under it and hide out. That's the point. You don't want any space in your hive for a small hive beetle to hide out. And I wanted to say that because I knew some of you would be like, oh, that's where beetles could go. But if you install it right, that won't happen. Now, it's larger on one side, if you can see here. It's longer on this side than this side. So you can apply it this way, but that would be incorrect because it doesn't fit on the area here. The smallest side, the small side of the L, is a part that goes right here onto that board. Now, the reason this one isn't fitting good is because the buildup of the propolis is still over here, plus wear and tear on the box has made this piece smaller. Normally, if you have a brand new hive, let me show you. Here's a newer box that hasn't been worn out from years of use. So on this is what a 1-year-old box looks like. See all that propolis that's on there after just 1 year. So it's a little bit easier to clean it off. Let's just go ahead and knock this off real quick. Yeah, not hard at all. Okay, let's do this top part here. This is all propolis. And remember, propolis is part of the bee's immune system. It helps the bees not have to use so much energy to fight off pathogens, because this stuff helps control a lot of the, it doesn't help control viruses, we don't think. It doesn't help control pests, but it will help control some of the other pathogens. All right, there we go. We got that cleaned up. Now you can see how this goes on here. Small piece goes right here on this top part of that frame rest, where the frame will rest. Now you just take some small nails. We use staples and a staple gun, and we just staple it with a small, like a 1/2-inch staple, just staple it 3 times what we do right here, and that makes it really a tight space right here. Now, once you get that in there, let me tell you how awesome it works, is because this isn't nailed down, but if it was nailed down, I'll just hold it tight for you. But you can see how much easier this moves compared to my other side over here. You can see it's not going to move as easily over here because it's having to put up with the excess propolis, see. But over here, you can see sliding on that metal rail, it makes it so nice. Plus, this protects that edge for a long time. It's going to help your hive last forever, really. It's going to just let that slide and be good. Again, you can buy these on Datant. I don't know if other places sell them, but that's where we buy them from. And it's a good idea to put those in there. So let's get back to this box, because this box has more issues than just our frame rest area. This frame rest area isn't bad. I mean, right here it's dipping down. I'm losing a lot of space here from wear and tear. But I wanted to show you why I took this box out of commission. You've probably watched the video where we had to take this out, but look at this corner right here. Now, why do corners get damaged like this? They get damaged like this. Here, I'll show you. Put this box here. It's because when you have 2 boxes together like this, and you've got a big hive tool, well, if that groove wasn't broken off, it would be really tight, so you just have to jam your hive tool in and out like that till you get in there. But after years of pow, 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 pounding this in and prying like that, you can see right now, look at that wood. My hive tool got underneath the actual wood of the hive. And so it just, after years of use like this, you just chip away at it until you got that. And unfortunately, this is big enough now, you can see the gap is big enough for bees to go in and out. That's why you have to pull them out of commission. Now, let's talk more about this box, by the way. I wanted to make mention of this box. This box has, like I said, used by a commercial beekeeper long before I got it. And you can probably tell, let me show you one side of it here. Yeah. If you can look closely on this side, do you see the green paint over here? Yeah, so this hive body box was green. A lot of beekeepers used to paint their boxes green. That color green was real common. And I've since, over the years, painted it white. I like mine usually to be white if I do paint them. Another thing I want to show you about this Hive Box is, look at this handle. This is different than you see in a lot of the handles like this one here. This is a spoon scoop type handle. You can see the reason they're spoon like this, a little bit out of focus, but it's because we've felt over the years, and I don't know if I feel that way, but beekeepers have felt that if it's not spooned out, then water could collect on the lower shelf of that handle. This handle down here on the white box was cut with a dado blade. And it's a very common way to make hive boxes. Now, I've been keeping bees forever. I've never had any kind of a rot situation right there. And hive bodies, it dries out quickly, not much water accumulates there. But I think that's the reasoning of making this more of a spooned out, how you see, and it might be a little easier to get your hand in there as well. But it's a lot more work if you're making them yourself to make this design than it is just to run that through your dado blade. Another thing about this box that I find interesting is that it also has a rabbit corner. Now, as you see here close up, this means that these edges, this edge on the side piece was not altered. It goes to a dead end right here, a flat end, the size of the thickness of the board. Whereas this front and the back, if you can look closely here, then this front piece was actually dadoed in half, usually about half of the width, the thickness of the board. This is a 3/4 inch piece of pine, so it goes in about half that distance, and it goes in the distance of this sideboard. So the sideboard fits into almost like a groove, and it's called a rabbit joint, and that fits there. Now, rabbit joints are interesting because some people feel that these box joints are better, that they're stronger. But if you look closely at a rabbit joint, only about half of the end, what we call the end of the board, the end board, it's kind of a raw piece of the board that's open to nature. Only about half of it is exposed. Here, you have the whole board exposed on this side, there. You have a lot more inboard exposed on this box joint. Also, on a rabbit joint, if you're making them yourself, it's a lot faster to make. You have to really have some expensive equipment, have to be really good. It takes a lot longer if you don't have expensive equipment, and you just try to notch out these box grooves to make this box joint. It's going to take you a lot longer, where these are easy to zip through a table saw, dado blade, and notch that out, put them together. And hey, we all know if you use the right kind of glue and then you staple or nail it, man, that board's going to break before the glue gives way. That's what we found. Now you can see other things about this box that I've stapled insulation, my bat insulation for winter. You can see I got some staples on it. But yeah, now let's get back to this corner. Is there any way to do anything? Well, many times what I've done, if the problem is on the bottom side, like this corner is busted out, then I just measure down 6 5/8 here, and I run it through my table saw, all 4 sides of the box, and I turn it into a medium super, back to the medium super size. Now, you can't do that though if it's on the top like here, because here, if we cut this bad part off, we lose our frame rests. And it's really hard to cut frame rests back in a board in a box after it's assembled. We really can't do that. I've tried and I've done it, but it's hard to get all the way to the edge without a chisel. Kind of not worth it if your time is valuable, but if you have a lot of spare time on your hands, you could just come down and measure up from the bottom 6 5/8, and then you could cut that whole top section off that's bad, and then notch out new frame rests on each front and back end of your box, and you can turn a bad, broken, deep box into a healthier mini honey super box. Now, for me personally, I'm not going to do anything with this because it's bad on both sides. I have tried in my days when I had far less money than I have now. I had to make things work because I couldn't afford another box. So yeah, you could make this work. Some of you are carpenters. You almost have to be like a dentist. You have to find out what is bad. You know, if you're going to put a filling in a tooth, you're going to have to take out all the bad tooth so you can get down to good tooth to fill it. And sometimes you run out of good tooth. Well, this is the case with this box. Unfortunately, I've already seen holes from wax moth damage go deep into this side here. And I can see a crack right here that water's going to get into, freeze and thaw. And so if you look closely right here, you can see this crack, right? So this is splintered. So this would be like, how do I fix this? It's going to go deeper and deeper down this box. So you hate to lose this whole box. But for me, leave a comment if you can think of a way that this corner, you know, without spending, you know, a month working on it or spending a lot of money, box wood, if you're making rabbet joints yourself and you're dado cutting your handles in, the wood, you know, isn't, I mean, it's expensive, yes, but it might be cheaper if you're crafty, handy with woodworking for you just to go to a store, buy a piece of wood and then cut it and build your own box. Then you're starting out with a brand new box. But in this case, if you are struggling financially and you can't afford a new box, then yeah, you can make this live. You can tack a nail down through here, or if you wanted to, you could actually be fancy. You could take a jigsaw and you could cut this down and actually put a whole new corner, whole new piece of wood in here. But again, you've got your frame rests to get perfect, matched up with the other frame rests. I can't tell you, I mean, if you feel like that's something you have to do, more power to you. But at this point, I can't do it. There's a thing about beekeeping, by the way, is if you're going to be a beekeeper, you pretty much have to spend money. I mean, you still have, you know, you're going to have to buy a hive tool. You're going to have to buy the smoker. By the way, if you haven't subscribed, Bobblehead David here is encouraging you guys to subscribe to my channel. So, you know, beekeeping is a hobby. I don't like that term hobby. It's more of a backyard experience for those of you that have, you know, under 50 hives or something. It's a backyard exercise in keeping bees healthy, but it does cost. So if you're trying to get into a hobby that doesn't hardly cost anything, that's not beekeeping. Your bees are expensive, your boxes are expensive, things are always deteriorating on you if you stay in it long enough, and you're struggling with having to buy the equipment. You know, your smoker could go bad, you got to buy another smoker or hive tool, you lose that and hit it with a lawnmower in the grass, these things. So you're always having to spend money. So you might just have to budget these boxes. Now, dipping these in wax, would that actually make them last longer? Would it prevent these corner pieces from breaking? It might help. However, I think more the problem is trying to get these boxes separated when they're glued together with propolis in the summertime, and we're just bang, 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 bang. We're damaging that, whether it's waxed, not waxed, whether it's painted, not painted. All of these things can be a problem. They make a lot of corner protectors too. You might look into that, but this right here is just going to be hard to solve unless you're just absolutely on a $0 budget. Then yeah, you're going to have to just put some cardboard in there, duct tape it. That's what I was doing before I finally pulled it out of the field. I was just running duct tape around the corner to keep robber bees out. Because if you have a corner exposed, open like this, what's going to happen in the fall when robber bees are bad and you put a robber screen on the front, the robbers are going to find this gap back here and rob the hive out. That's a big gap for robber bees to go into. Okay, now we can get into some coffee time conversations. And I got a couple of boxes here I want to open up. Let me take a sip of coffee here. Well, coffee time has been around a long time. Years ago when I was making videos, I started coffee time sitting around and chatting about life. So today what I want to chat with you about is something that I'm a little troubled by. I don't know if you're troubled by it, but what I don't like about some of the struggles we see in our culture today is that there's no middle ground. And that's disappointing. Like, you know, you can have somebody on this side of the fence, somebody on that side of the fence, but there's no middle ground. And what's happening now is that if you're on this side opposed to that side, then you're not only at odds or in disagreement with each other, but now you're hateful and sometimes violent toward the other side. And so that's too bad that you either have to be totally over here or totally over there. There's no middle ground. And beekeeping is a little bit that way, isn't it? You can see some people that will just get all wild about a certain type of hive. You have people that, basically we have a Langstroth hive, and then you have a Layens hive, horizontal Langstroth hives. What else am I missing? Top bar hives. You've got your flow hive, which is a Langstroth hive, but you've got all the different types of hives, plastic hives, AZ or Slovenian hive. So you got all these different types of hives. And what I've found is that each of these types of hives have a large following. There's the Warray hive too. They have a large following, a loyal fan base of that particular hive. And if you don't use that particular hive, then you're an enemy. There's no middle ground. In beekeeping, it's that way. Some people say, oh, you're someone who doesn't treat for mites. Well, you're the enemy because I treat. Well, you're supposed to treat, or vice versa. You can have distinct groups on should you use a J hook or a traditional old-fashioned hive tool. And you just have these distinct groups or companies. What companies do you buy yours from? Oh, you don't support this company? Well, you're the enemy. There's no middle ground. But I think what's really cool about beekeeping is we should all have our own freedom to be in the middle. Sometimes we'll go this direction and sometimes we'll go that direction. Like today, I might use a hive tool during my inspection, but I'm using traditional hive tool when I'm doing scraping or smacking small hive beetle. And then I think, well, there's smokers, there's different, there's the smokers now, the electronic vaporizing smokers, that camp. And then there's the old-fashioned smoker where you put, your smoker fuel in, leaves or pine needles. I use burlap in your smoker, but the middle ground is like being free to go back and forth. That's going to give you a lot of leverage in beekeeping because I love it. I love that I have a Layens hive, a flow hive, the traditional Langstroth hives, a new keeper's hive. I'm trying them all out to see what I think about them, right? And they have their advantages and disadvantages. By far, I'm a Langstroth guy. And that's probably because I've learned everything in beekeeping on a Langstroth. So I just wanted to say in life in general, we can really get to the place where we're too much so hard-headed in one direction and closed-minded that we miss out on something that could have been very valuable and helpful for us on the other side of the fence. I know that's a hard concept for many people because in some ways we're taught, and it is beneficial sometimes to be very strong, have very strong opinions on one side of the fence. There are times when you have to do that, right? I get it. I'm that way. And there's some things that you have to, but on other things, you may not have to. It might be better for you to be open-minded and see if you don't just take one side, but be open to the other side, then you might learn a lot. But here's the thing I want to bring up. On both sides of the fence, whatever we're talking about, whether it's beekeeping, life in general, whatever, there are people on both sides. People. And I think we lose sight of that. Not everybody can be reduced down to their preference of what hive they use because they are a person. They're a mother, a father, they're a son or a daughter. They're people with feelings. They are people that could help us or we could help them. So before we just reduce people down to their individual positions on certain things, I think we need to look at everybody as one of us. We're all people working together. Now, when I was a kid growing up, there weren't that many cars, companies around. It was kind of like the TV channel. Wasn't that many TV channels. But I remember my dad was a Ford man. Only Fords. Now, he worked for a company, and when he got advanced up in his career, they actually gave him a company car, which happened to be a Plymouth station wagon. And he liked the Plymouth car, even though he was a Ford man. But gosh, I remember hearing so many people back when I was growing up, so one side of the fence about a Ford, one side of the fence about a Chevy. You know, that's kind of what it was back then. You got a Chevy guy or a Ford guy, you know, and they had all these acronyms for Ford. If you didn't like Ford, Ford stood for fix or repair daily. It's just like, I mean, that's how much this hatred was toward these different brands. Well, today it's entirely different because we have this just, I mean, so many cars are in the market now, here in the US especially. We have every brand you can think of. We have so many, some of the names I can't even pronounce, but we have so many different kind of cars now. And people have just stopped pretty much doing that. Back in the old days, you could work on your own car. You could keep your Ford or your Chevy running. You could open a hood and see down through the engine and see the ground below it. You could stand inside there and work on your car. You could stand under the hood, really straddle the engine and work on it. You can't do that. You can't see daylight when you open your hood up now. So I think what I've found in a transition I've gone through in my life is that I've learned to be very open-minded. I'm kind of opinionated on certain things. In beekeeping, I'm opinionated on certain things, but my opinion has changed, and it changes yearly. Each year I come around again and think I'm going to revisit that and change my mind on this or that. And it's good. If you're open-minded, you can do that. You need to be able to listen and hear what other people have to say and what other hives that are being created, what advantage or disadvantage they may give. And you could make a rational decision. I think that's healthy. So be careful that you don't become so one-sided that you start hating the other side. We don't want to do that. We want to stay balanced. We want to be open-minded. We want to see the other side as people, individuals, and respect people. I think that's, I'm amazed at how respect of human life, respect of people has really weakened. It's not as strong as it needs to be, but we need to respect other people. And it's good when people can join together and accomplish something together, even though we might have differences of opinion. Well, people have given me some things. I've been receiving some Christmas cards. I got my knife on me. I'm not naked today. I've been receiving some boxes for Christmas. Thank you guys for doing that. I'll leave a little address right here if you want to send me a little something. Not asking for it, but I know you might ask me for it. Well, what's your address? So I'll leave my P.O. box there. All right, this is from somebody I don't think I know. Ooh, let's see what this is. Oh, it feels like a jar of honey. Oh, look at that. Oh boy. Ambee's honey from Oklahoma. Thank you so much. Wow. Made with love in the U.S. 16 ounces of honey. That's a beautiful jar of honey. It looks like there's something else. More honey? What else have we got in here? Let's see if there's a card or a name. Oh, look at this. Sand plum. Sand plum honey. I don't know if I've had sand plum honey. That honey is cold. There is a little card in here. There's another jar. Oh, I see. 2023. Sand plum, Oklahoma. Well, I'm going to enjoy, and I'm going to research what sand plum is. I'm assuming it's a plant of some sort. Let me read this card here. This looks like it's from Amber. Hope you enjoy. See ya on the next live stream. Oh, to the Burns family. Apologies, my printer broke, so I'm writing this out. Oh, good for you. I think it's great to write things out. You should type it out. I love typewriters. Thank you for all you do. Your work. Let's see, you work hard providing wonderful beekeeping education. I appreciate you so much. I previously won some of your honey on a live stream and would love to share some of my goodies with you. Honey from Let's see, it says honey from my backyard girls. Sand plum jelly. Oh, sand plum jelly. This might be jelly. Okay. I love jelly on my toast. They grow wild here. One of my secret spots. Oh, actually, that's pretty cool. That's good to know. I don't have to research it now. Sand plum jelly to share. Oh, I got another one to share with other people. Very good. Hope you enjoy. Well, thank you so much, Amber. I'm going to enjoy that tremendously. You bet. Let's look at the next box. Do one more here. Not going to open all the boxes today on this video. I'll have time to open another one. Let's see what's in this one. All right. I'm opening them upside down to protect everyone's location address if they don't want to be known. Oh, this looks like a picture of some sort. Let's see what this is going to be. Golly, it's in a frame? Now, I did see who this box is from, and it's from Carrie. Carrie came out to visit us from Colorado, and she and her daughter actually worked bees with me. Remember that video? That was great, Willa. So look at this. Oh, this is really interesting. I'm going to get the little, I got a little tape to get off here later, but this is beautiful. This is actually a picture that's been framed. It's a beautiful frame, by the way. And this is from Willa. Look at that. Isn't that cool? Wow. Glow bee. That is so neat. And it shows a hive there and beautiful flowers. Wow. I love it. Thanks, Willa. Thanks, Carrie. That's really great. I'll clean that up here after the video. Got tape stuck to me. Oh boy, got a couple other things in here to open up. Let's see what it is. That's really nice wrapping paper, by the way. It's can you see that? It's actually a chunk of comb honey that's dripping out of a piece of comb. Where did you find wrapping paper with comb honey on it? That's beautiful. Wow. A lot of you liked the hat that Carrie wore when she was working bees with me. It's kind of like a cowboy hat, and you loved it. Oh, this must be maybe for Sherry or me. I don't know. It looks like a little mitten. Ooh, it's going to be, it'll fit me, but my hands are big. Oh no, it works. Look at that. All right. Thank you. Like Christmas. I should have waited till Christmas. Here's something in here. Another wrapping paper with bees on it. And this is actually the right anatomy of a honeybee. Usually wrapping paper for bees has a bumblebee. It's like a bumblebee, you know. It's like, why can't you just draw a real honeybee? But this has a real honeybee on it. Beautiful paper. Carrie's, you're gonna have to tell us where you got all this great paper. This great wrapping paper with comb honey and real honeybees on it. This feels like a shirt. Oh, look at that. It is a scarf. Did you make these? They look like the same color material. Oh, yeah. All right. What do you do, like that? Whoop. No, like this. This is huge, by the way. Yeah. I'm ready to fly in my open cockpit airplane with my scarf on. Oh, probably blocked the microphone. But that is unreal. That is beautiful. And it's hexagonal comb color, beehive frame color, detailed. Wow, that is great. We're going to treasure that. We really are. All right, let me see, find out what the card is here. I think that's all that I saw in here. Yep. And Carrie, I noticed that you recycled one of our own boxes. We must have sent you some winter bee kinds. It's like a winter bee kind box. Ooh, Carrie goes to a great extent to make sure everything has a bee on it. Look at that. Wow. Oh, that's cool. Oh, Willa wrote too. Dear David and Sherry, thank you for your videos. They're so good. I love bees so much. Thank you for teaching us so much stuff. It's really, it is really thankful. Hope you like my gift. Have a great day. Love, Willa. Wow, that's great. And got some cool things here that say Bee Hall bee haul on it, some stickers. David and Sherry, we're so grateful for the times you spent with us in September, for mentoring us and for your generosity and friendship. You have brought more to our beekeeping experience than simply bees. Our beekeeping time is richer and filled with community and care. Will and I made some gifts of gratitude. You made these. Wow, that's so impressive, and I'm humbled by that. The gift in the bees paper is for David. I mixed them up. Was that the scarf? The honeybee paper for Sherry, and the original artwork is for both of you. We wish you the happiest of holidays, seasons. Look forward to more times working together, no matter the season. Cowboy up, getting it done, bee haul. All right, that's great. So let me go back here. The gift in the bee paper is for David, and the bees paper. I'm going to have to do some analysis now. Okay, so the first one was this one. They're about the same size. Let's see, the first thing that I opened, I'll have to look at the video, but I think the gloves were in here, the mittens were in here. Yeah. So I must get the scarf. I'll double check. Thank you, Carrie and Willa. You guys are really nice. It really means a lot. Thank you so much. All of you on my channel. I mean, gosh, you guys are the best. You really are. I love and appreciate all of you so much. It's great making videos and teaching you guys. And I can't say enough how much I appreciate what making videos to help you guys, how it makes me feel. I feel really useful. I feel satisfied and happy that I can work at something that helps other people. And that's the big thing in life. You know, we all just don't want to be working for ourselves, making ourselves better, improving ourselves. That's a big part of our lives. But we have to do it while we help other people. And that gives us great joy when we can actually do things to help other people. And it's good to let people know, when people help us, it's good to let them know that we appreciate it. So I appreciate you guys. You help me by watching my channel, and I appreciate the nice gifts and thoughts that you give to me. So thank you guys so much. Now, talking about propolis, I made a video talking about whether or not propolis will improve the health of your hive, and you really need to watch this video. It's going to be helpful. Check it out right over here. I'll see you guys over there.